Welcome back to the Okaloosa Today Show. I'm Kathy Newby, Public Information Officer for Okaloosa County. And today with me, my guest is Vicky Stever, Coordinator for the Okaloosa County Public Library Cooperative. You've been there a long time now, Vicky. I just thought of that. How long now?
Almost 4 years.
Wow. It's great to have you. You do such a great job. And,
Thanks.
and we're glad to have you today.
All right.
The Library Cooperative, of course, for any of those who don't know, we always like to refresh everybody's memory. It's a wonderful partnership between Okaloosa County and 6 municipalities in the county, and to provide free public library service to our citizens. And it's been around since 1997. And it's really been a model for the state, I know, for other intergovernmental organizations. That's a big word.
Yep.
That's one of Vicky's words. And but anyway, what do you want to say about that today, Vicky?
Well, I think the most important thing for folks to know is that one library card, whether you get it at Destin, Fort Walton Beach, Creston, Mariester, Niceville, or Valparaiso, is good at all of the libraries in the county. And that gives you access to like over 322,000 items in those libraries. It's pretty amazing.
It is, and what that means is if one library doesn't have something and the other one does, they can even send it to that library location.
Right.
Or you can download it on the internet.
Exactly.
Depending on what it is,
Sure.
of course.
We've got a courier that runs between the libraries and downloadable ebooks, and the libraries have so many things. You know, you really get enthused about sharing it all, but everything we do revolves around something that's precious to people, and that's education. And whether you're thinking about education in terms of K through 12 or getting a college degree, whether you're learning something from your job or that self-directed learning that we all do, you know, we want to learn something just because we'd like to know it, know how to do it or know what it is. You know, libraries empower people to change their own lives. It's exciting stuff.
Well, it is, and our own jobs challenge us every day, just keeping up with the technology. So yes, often we find ourselves as professionals always having to learn and keep up. I mean, it's lifelong learning is really required.
It absolutely
of all of
is.
Us,
Absolutely.
All of us. So, and you know, it's something that we take for granted. I mean, you know, this isn't something that we talked about, but you know, if we think about our parents, and I remember how, you know, sometimes they would miss school because they had to work in the cotton fields, or you know, or wherever, you know, you lived, depending on that particular situation. And I just remember my parents really stressing how important education was, because when you don't have it,
Yes.
you value that so much more. So today we take a lot of that for granted, and
Yeah,
and
you're
that's
right, because
important.
it's easy and it's guaranteed.
Yeah.
And so we do sometimes forget what it was like.
And it's so important to look back so that you can learn those lessons and you don't make those mistakes in the future. And this is our centennial year, so we have to talk a little bit about history.
Sure. And you know, I think a lot of people don't remember that the reason the school year cycles are what they are is because it rotated around crops. You know, you were out
Right.
in the summer months or in the fall because you needed to help on the farm, and that was relied upon.
It was. So, you know, be appreciative of what we have in our schools and our libraries and communities. And so starting with the education for our children and our students, and the growing, let's talk a little bit about the growing partnership with the school district.
Okay.
And what y'all are doing in that area.
Well, the Library Cooperative is really a major component of the strong education system that we have here in Okaloosa County, because our education system is the schools, it's the colleges, it's the libraries, and we're all working toward that same goal. So that partnership is a very natural thing. And so what we're working toward now is just making sure that we all communicate better, that we share resources, and that we make our tax dollars, you know, go the farthest that they can for the citizens. We all want the same thing, and that's student success.
Absolutely, absolutely. How many, you know, I think you were going to talk a little bit about, you know, how many hours a student is in school
Right. You know, when you think about it, a lot of times people think about education in terms of school, but how many hours a day is a student in school? 6 or 7 maybe? So school's over, where do they go? They go to the library. They may go there to do homework. They may go to socialize with their friends or just to do some free choice reading or use our internet. But the teachers are off duty, the schools are closed. They're either coming to our buildings or they're visiting us on the web, you know, using our resources there. So we're part of that day that they have and part of the education that they get on the evenings and afternoons and weekends.
So what are y'all doing? You know, are you actually interacting with the teachers and the educators?
Yes. You know, I think we've had informal support of the schools for quite a while.
Sure.
You know, that's what we've always done, but we're trying to build that up a little bit more and make it easier for teachers to use the resources the libraries have. So one of the first things that we did is expedite their access to our online tools, and we developed an educator library card so they can just apply to the cooperative office and do that by email, and immediately they're going to get back a library card number that will let them have access to all the online tools, because we know if they can use them, it'll help them in the classroom, and it'll also increase that familiarity so that they can recommend them to students and parents. They know what we've got to offer that can be helpful to them. And then another thing that we're doing is enhancing the communication back and forth.
Okay.
And what we see as exciting, especially on our end, is that students are now hearing about library activities through their teachers and through the school newsletters. And an example of how that worked beautifully was back in October when the Crestview Library hosted the Seamobile, which is a traveling aquarium. It comes from Panacea, Florida, the Gulf Specimen Marine Labs. And they have interactive displays, touch tanks, you know, you can hold starfish, and microscopes where you can look through them to see the little microscopic sea creatures. We had 1,100 people show up on a Saturday to see that, and just by talking with them, many people heard about that through their school. So it's exciting, right? You know, and it's a good example of how those engaging library experiences contribute to students' education.
So those are actually traveling exhibits, much like go through the museums and things like that?
Right.
Very good, very good. And we're going to talk about some of those online resources, but I think it is important to mention that, you know, of course we all have internet access, but you know, for these students, you've got to have reliable internet sources, and the library can certainly provide that credibility, reliability, factual information.
Yeah.
You know, because y'all have taken that on as your that, you know, certainly that's one of your basic policies.
Right,
so,
it is.
So how do the libraries contribute to student success?
Well, of course, we do that in a lot of different ways, but one of the things is to know how students work and learn today, and it's not the same as when you and I were in school. I know that's shocking.
I would not like to be a student today.
It's tough. It really is.
It is tough. There's a lot of pressure.
There's a lot of pressure,
today.
and you know, their expectation is for group collaboration, to do a lot of group projects, to work together in study groups. There are those advanced placement classes that didn't exist back in my day.
Right.
And it requires sometimes for study groups to meet outside of school hours. So the libraries can support that with the meeting rooms that we have. You've got
Perfect
a place
to meet.
Exactly. You can get in there, get a study room. You can spread out, you can talk. There's wireless internet available throughout the building. At some of the libraries, there are actually computers in the study rooms. There's whiteboards. So the different tools that they need to be able to work together. One of the things that people don't realize is that we also can provide those online study spaces, you know, kind of a virtual private study room that's available through one of the services that we subscribe to called Help Now, but it's essentially private chat rooms that they set up working through the Help Now, and they can share documents.
They can ask questions probably. And
right.
like
So
that.
you can actually just work together virtually, and you don't even have to be in the same building. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And another thing that has changed for students is the expectation to be creative and to use technology and to deliver a really polished presentation at the end of a study unit you know, that's big, and you've just got to have the tools that make that possible. At Destin Library, they have a new media creation lab, and students can go there and create professional quality graphics and sound and video files. And you know, that's something that families don't have. Most people can't afford, and hardly anybody needs to own it.
Right.
But you need to level the playing field so that all the students have access to expensive equipment like that, no matter whether your family can afford it or not. And that's available now at Destin, and the Fort Walton Library is working on developing a media lab too.
What's in the media lab?
There'll be things like recording microphones, a green screen, sound booth, computers, much higher processing power computers with software to create those custom graphics that are really special.
That's neat. These kids are going to be smart. And they can get help with their homework.
Sure. We're still doing that traditional kind of homework help. It's always going to be important to be able to go to the library, find the type of information you need in different formats that's appropriate for your age group. And you know, most importantly perhaps is getting assistance from the trained research specialists that are on the library staff.
And online, do you want to talk about
Absolutely.
some of those online tools?
You know, we help in the library and we help a lot online. And let's face it, when you're working on your homework at, you know, 11:30 at night, the library's not open either.
Right.
Right. So we've got some amazing tools out there for people to use. And they include things like academic skills courses, there's live online tutors, there's professional writing critiquing services. We have a lot of quality research databases that you can go on. Get
credible,
the good, yes,
yeah, like what
the
we talked
credible
about earlier.
sources.
Yeah.
So if you start there, if a student will start there, they're going to save
Yeah.
themselves time and effort because they're going to use the sources that their teachers are going to approve for their papers.
Right.
And what
Good
we
content.
really want people to know is that that stuff's not free and it's not on Google. The libraries pay good amounts of money to provide the content and the services that we know will be helpful to people. So we don't like to call it free. We like to say it's your tax dollars wisely invested. And of course, there's no fee if you are a library card holder to use
Right.
those things.
And if you live in any of the cities or the unincorporated county, you can
Right.
get a library card.
Right.
So, and again, if you don't have a computer at home, you can just go to your local library.
Yeah, that's really true. You know, internet access is absolutely essential for any kind of modern research.
Right.
You cannot do what you need to do without a computer these days. You know, you've got to have internet that's reliable and fast, and you've got to have access to a computer. And for folks that don't have that, that's where the libraries meet the need. We've got fast internet in there, we've got wireless internet, you can bring your own device, and if you don't have a computer, we have 145 public use computers throughout the 6 libraries, and the library locations are open anywhere from, I think it's 45 to 52 hours each week.
Well, and a lot of times, you know, you may have a computer at home, but, you know, older brother or sister may be on that, or the parents or whatever.
Yeah,
So.
or it crashes at the inopportune time, or your printer dies. You know, there's printing capabilities there at the libraries, or just to download things. If your internet service is slow, it can take so long. And you go to the library, and we've got that fast fiber optic, and zip.
Yeah, and so we talked about the Help Now that will actually help with some of that homework and with the tutoring. Okay, so y'all are open. Tutoring's available at the library when? That's the online tutoring
Online
is available
tutoring,
when?
right. The online tutoring is available through the program that's called Help Now, and they can find a link to the Help Now service at our website, which is readokaloosa.org. And Help Now has these amazing academic skills courses on there that whether you're in 3rd grade or all the way up through college or even an adult learner, you can find something that's age appropriate on different subjects. And so the higher education level that you're looking at, the more subjects are available to you. And you can take a skills assessment test when you start the course, so you kind of find out what it is you need to work on, and the program develops a personalized learning plan for you. And they will give you a series of lessons and quizzes and things that will help you build up those specific concepts, and it tracks your progress. And if any time you're working in there, let's say you're working on algebra or something, and you get to a point where you just can't get it, there's a button right there on the screen that says connect to a live tutor. And bingo, you're connected with someone who is a subject matter expert, and they know what you're working on that screen, and they can help you with that problem.
That is so wonderful.
It is pretty cool, and you can also go in there if you've got your own homework assignment and you're struggling with something. And I think it's still true, you know, we call it the new math, that parents don't always know how to help their kids learn it in the way that the schools want them to do it now.
Right.
So you can you can go in there and say, I'm in 8th grade and I'm working on this subject, and here is my problem that I'm working on, and then that information is transmitted to the tutor. And so when they come online to help you, they know what it is that you're working on, and they make sure that they hook you up with somebody who is a subject matter expert in what you're working on. So you click the button, you go in online. It's like an online classroom environment. So you have a shared workspace, and you and the tutor can work together and see each other's screens. You can draw and you can type on there and communicate that way.
Well, we've got a couple more minutes. Let's talk about adult learners. And of course,
Absolutely.
Adult learners can use that program too that you just talked about. But
They
lots
can.
of programs out there for
They
adults.
can. The adult learners have lots of skill classes on there, Microsoft classes, and they can pursue their own self-directed learning through the library collections, because if you want to learn how to bake a pie or fix your car or learn about ancient civilizations, you know, we've got you covered on that. And another thing that people love so much, over 40,000 people attend events and classes at the libraries in a year, are the face-to-face events and workshops. And if you go to the website and look at the online calendar.
That's what I was going to say. They have calendars.
Got an online calendar, shows you what's happening at all 6 locations. You're going to find ukulele jam sessions and genealogy tutoring and knitting classes, and you know, the list is endless.
That's wonderful. Any holiday gift ideas?
Well, we know that tablets and computers are going to be popular, and people are going to want audiobooks and ebooks to play on them. We've got 2 sources there to give you access to over 16,000 titles, so come download them for free.
What else do you want to add as we close out the year? And you can actually search some of those ebooks too online.
Absolutely, you can search them right through our catalog interface. Well, I think to close out the year, we'd just like to say thank you. We'd like to say thank you to the taxpayers that fund public libraries, because you're making it possible for that quality public education to be available to everybody, no matter their age or their social status or their ability level. They can be in a continuous learning mode, and that's important in your job, for your education,
for the future,
for your citizens, your daily
your
life
community.
skills.
I mean, that just goes into
It really
our whole
does.
future
So,
impact.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Vicki, for being here. And of course, this is our last show of our centennial year. And I hope you've enjoyed our history segments all year long. Thanks to Image Printing for our centennial picture for our television show. And thank you, Okaloosa Today. And we will see you all next year. I hope you have a joyous season and a joyous new year.
Thanks for watching Okaloosa Today. Join us again next month to learn about local news and information for Okaloosa County, Fort Walton Beach, and Destin.